The nightmares in Derry just got darker. Episode 2 of IT Welcome to Derry doesn't just continue the story. It pulls us straight into the heart of the town's sickness. The deaths, the secrets, the buried horrors, everything here screams that Derry isn't just cursed. It's designed to be a feeding ground for fear itself. Welcome back to Your Nerdy Show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. Today, we're diving deep into episode 2, the one that rips the mask off Derry and shows us how the monster's influence runs through every corner of this town, from Lily's terrifying visions to the government's secret experiments. This episode isn't just about jump scares. It's about how evil evolves and why it never really dies in Derry. So grab your popcorn and your flashlight because things are about to get very, very strange. The aftermath of the Capitol Theater massacre. The episode opens with the Capitol Theater massacre, but not as a distant, confusing blur like in the first episode. This time, we're right there with Lily as she relives it in her nightmares. We actually see Phil, Theodore, and Susie die in gruesome detail, ripped apart by that grotesque alien baby monster. It's brutal, it's disturbing, and it confirms what we suspected. The evil in Derry is awake again. But what's maybe more disturbing than the deaths themselves is how the town reacts, or doesn't react. After 3 children die horribly, all the school can manage is a half-hearted curfew and a bland speech from Principal Dunleavy. His little moment of silence ends with a joke about adding greens to the lunch menu, right before the camera pans to a poster about radioactive fallout. That's Welcome to Derry in a nutshell. Comedy, tragedy, and horror, all rolled into one twisted slice of Americana. Lily is traumatized beyond belief, but the world around her just shrugs it off. Ronnie's going through her own nightmare because the cops have decided that her father, Hank Grogan, is their perfect scapegoat. Why the police are after Hank Grogan. If there's one thing Derry does consistently, it's punish the wrong people. The police have no evidence that Hank was involved in the murders, but because he's black and he worked at the theater, that's all they need. The scene where the cops wait outside his house like vultures makes it clear that logic, justice, and truth don't exist here. The chief's theory makes no sense, but it doesn't have to. The people in power are just looking for someone to blame, and Hank fits their prejudice perfectly. For Ronnie, it's unbearable. She's terrified of losing her dad. Her grandmother is furious, and rightly so, but even her anger just fuels the fear in their house. That fear is exactly what the creature feeds on, because fear is currency in Derry. And it's no coincidence that Pennywise, or whatever form he's taking right now, chooses this moment to strike. Ronnie's terrifying encounter. When Ronnie hides under her bedsheet, we see one of the most disturbing sequences in the episode. The sheet morphs into a grotesque womb, symbolic, suffocating, and horrifying. It's clear that the monster is using Ronnie's deepest trauma against her. We don't get all the details, but the implication is that Ronnie's mother died giving birth to her. That guilt, her belief that she killed her mother, is what the creature uses to torment her. The monster takes on the form of her mother and accuses Ronnie of being responsible for her death. The imagery is horrifying. Umbilical cords, decaying flesh, a giant monster mother rising from the bed. But Ronnie fights back. She literally bites through the umbilical cord, a symbolic act of breaking free from her guilt. It's a haunting moment of defiance, but it's short-lived. The creature would have devoured her if her father hadn't burst into the room. It's one of the most memorable and frightening moments in the show so far, but it's also deeply sad, because in Derry, survival doesn't mean peace. It just means another day of fear. Why Lily lies to the police. Lily's story in this episode is just as heartbreaking. She's still reeling from what happened at the theater, and the police keep dragging her deeper into the mess. When she talks to them, she insists that Hank wasn't there that night, but she doesn't mention the monster, the alien baby that tore the kids apart. Ronnie's furious about it. She feels betrayed because Lily's silence means her father will take the fall. But can you blame Lily? She knows what happens to people in Derry who tell the truth. She's already been locked up in Juniper Hill, the asylum that's more like a torture chamber than a hospital. If she starts talking about monsters, she knows she'll be sent right back there. Chief Clint Bowers knows this too, and he uses it against her. He corners Lily, threatens her, and forces her to choose. Either she lies and places Hank at the crime scene, or he'll send her back to Juniper Hill. It's cruel, manipulative, and perfectly captures how corruption in Derry always finds a way to protect itself. Faced with no good choices, Lily breaks. She lies, and Hank's fate is sealed. It's a devastating moment because we see how evil in Derry doesn't just come from monsters. It's embedded in the people, in the system, in the very soil. The arrival of the Hanlon family. While all this is happening, we also meet a familiar name for id fans, the Hanlons. Leroy, Charlotte, and their son Will have just moved to Derry, and they're about to find out how twisted this town really is. Charlotte's the kind of person who believes in doing the right thing, even when it's hard. So when she sees a group of bullies beating up a boy while adults just stand around watching, she steps in. But instead of thanking her, the townspeople look at her like she's the problem. That's Derry in a nutshell. Violence is normal. Compassion is suspicious. Her husband, Leroy, is trying to keep the peace. He's a realist. He knows what it means to be a black man in a place like Derry. He wants to protect his family by keeping their heads down, but Charlotte can't do that. She's fiery, outspoken, and she's not afraid to call out injustice, even when it puts a target on her back. Their son, Will, is caught in the middle. He's brilliant, curious, and kind. Too kind for a town like this. On his first day of school, he gets bullied, and to make matters worse, he ends up in detention after trying to defend himself. But in that detention room, something good happens. He meets Ronnie. Two lonely kids, both carrying heavy fears, find a little bit of comfort in each other. It's a small spark of hope in an otherwise hopeless town. Meanwhile, Charlotte notices something strange happening around town. A new Paul Bunyan statue being erected in the park. For most of Derry's residents, it's just a symbol of American pride. But for Charlotte, and for anyone who actually knows history, it's a chilling reminder of colonial myths built on stolen land. There's even a creepy connection to the It movies here. The local butcher, Stan Kirsch, mentions the statue approvingly, and that last name, Kirsch, should ring a bell. Mrs. Kirsch from It Chapter 2 was the horrifying old woman who claimed to be Pennywise's daughter. Whether this stand is related to her or not, the name drop feels intentional, because in Derry, everything and everyone is connected. The dig at Derry Air Base. Now, here's where the story takes a major turn toward the supernatural and the political. We finally catch up with Dick Halloran. Yes, the same Dick Halloran from The Shining who's serving at the Derry Air Base. He's got the shine, that psychic ability to sense things beyond the ordinary, and he's using it to guide a secret military excavation. He tells Colonel Fuller and General Shaw that something powerful is buried deep underground, something the U.S. government wants to find, because in the middle of the Cold War, they're desperate for any kind of weapon. Leroy, now stationed at the base, gets tangled up in this madness. Shaw tells him that he was brought there for a reason, because of a supposed brain injury that left him fearless. His amygdala, the part of the brain that processes fear, doesn't work. In other words, they think he's the perfect man to handle whatever they're about to dig up. That alone should tell you this can't end well. As the excavation continues, Dick's psychic map seems to be right. They finally unearth something, a rusted old car buried in the mud. But this isn't just any car. It's riddled with bullet holes, and inside are several skeletons, one of them still clutching a shotgun. It's a chilling image, but what's even more disturbing is what it suggests. The U.S. military might be trying to weaponize the evil beneath Derry, and if that's the case, they're playing with something far older and far deadlier than any bomb. The monster's hold on Lily. While all of this unfolds, Lily faces her worst nightmare. After being blackmailed by Clint and abandoned by her mother, she's a shell of herself. When she goes grocery shopping, she starts hearing whispers calling her crazy. The aisles close in on her, jars start shaking, and she's surrounded by voices saying she belongs back in Juniper Hill. Then, in one of the episode's most grotesque moments, she sees her father's severed head inside one of the pickle jars, alive and leering. It's a direct manifestation of her deepest fear, that she's insane, that she's broken, and that she's trapped in a cycle of abuse she can't escape. When she collapses in the store surrounded by broken glass and spilled brine, the whole town writes her off again as Loony Lily. By the episode's end, her mother drives her back to Juniper Hill, completely unmoved. The monster has won this round. It's fed off her pain and turned her reality into a nightmare. The ending, Derry's dark secret unearthed. The final moments tie both storylines, the kids and the airbase, together in a chilling way. On one side, the kids of Derry are being devoured by an ancient evil. On the other, the government is digging that very evil up from the ground, thinking it's something they can control. When the soldiers stare at that mud-caked car, we can feel it. Whatever's buried there is connected to the same darkness haunting the kids, maybe even Pennywise himself. Dick Halloran's shine led them there, but what he's really done is open a door that should have stayed closed. Because if history's taught us anything, it's that Derry never learns. It just repeats the same horrors in different forms. Racism, abuse, neglect, corruption, and now it's about to pay the price again. Our nerdy thoughts. Episode 2 of It, Welcome to Derry, is brutal, disturbing, and absolutely brilliant. It peels back another layer of the town's evil and shows us that the real monsters wear human faces long before Pennywise shows up. Lily's trauma, Ronnie's guilt, and the Hanlon family's struggle against systemic hate are all threads that make Derry feel alive and cursed. But that final image of the car in the mud, that's the show's warning. Something ancient is stirring beneath the town, and the people digging it up have no idea what they've just unleashed. Because if the government really thinks they can weaponize it, then the real horror hasn't even begun.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.